Alright, so I'm in this area called Gypsy Meadows, and it's a pretty cool looking area here. Apparently there was a big spike camp here back in the day, and Stephen Major was telling me that he heard an encounter here where a couple of big guys were camping out here and got scared out of here. So hopefully I can maybe get him to come on and tell us about that encounter. But I think I'm gonna scooch on back to one of these campsites and do a couple of knocks. It's the middle of the day. I don't really expect any activity. All right, this is Gypsy Meadows. We're gonna do a couple of knocks, see if we get any responses. I'm on the last campsite back here. We'll see what happens. So I've been hanging around here at Gypsy Meadows. Did a couple of knocks. Haven't heard anything back. It is kind of early in the, or late in the day, I guess. It's about 10:30. It's starting to get warm. Most larger animals are probably bedding down in the shade. I'd like to come back up here with some other researchers and spend the night up here. I'll have to get Stephen to tell us more about the encounter that he heard about that scared the two guys out of here. So actually looks like it's kind of an equine park. They've got places to tie your horses up at the campsites. There's a lot of horse poop around. I don't know. I've heard several stories that say that Bigfoot is attracted to sweet feed that people feed like livestock and stuff. Maybe that's why they hang around here. Maybe they get the occasional bag of sweet feed or something. I don't know. There's also some signs down there that say the parks, or this campground, is going to be closed the 23rd till like the 26th or something for, I don't know if it's a private event or what, but today's the 22nd. So, I mean, I guess technically I could stay here tonight, but I don't want to do that by myself, and I don't want to risk getting any trouble. These Washington laws are strange to an Alaskan. I don't understand them. But anyway, I thought I heard something. It's probably a bird. I'm gonna hang around for a couple more minutes and then head out. I want to drive in the cell phone range today so I can talk to my wife. Maybe get a meal somewhere. I've been eating camp food and Twinkies and just basically stuff that I don't have to worry about going bad. Tomorrow I'm supposed to meet up with Will and those guys in Stevens County. I figured I'd get into town a little early and go to a restaurant and get me something to eat. Maybe go to Walmart and pick up something to drink. All I've got is water and a couple of rock stars. I don't really want to fill up on a bunch of soda and sugar, but you know, when you're out in the field, sugar can be important. It gives you energy. But anyway, guys, this is Gypsy Meadows, the site of apparently a very frightening encounter. hopefully we can hear some more about that. And if we can, I think I'll get Stephen Major to tell us about that right about now.
Okay, so Gypsy Meadows is one place that we've heard about that has had a number of pretty spooky encounters over the years. Some very recently. It was one of the spots that we couldn't make it to during the filming of Sullivan Creek Sasquatch because of the snow that kept us from out of there. But I've had really two very good encounter stories in that Gypsy Meadows area. One of them was a group of hunters, and I think there was 2 or 3, I don't remember exactly, that were in the area that were up there hunting, and they decided to camp there for the evening. And after they had got done doing their hunting for the day, they were setting up, their camp and whatever, and they were kind of going to sleep for the night, and something woke them up that was throwing stones at their tent, and it was kind of bouncing off their tent and whatnot, and they didn't know what that was all about, but it kind of woke them. They got up, and they were a little bit disturbed, and then they heard some heavy breathing and some, what'd you say, kind of like lip smacking or something like that, some type of chompy noise or something like that, that they described as lip smacking or whatever, and it disturbed them greatly. And they shined some lights around, and then whatever it was ran off, but it disturbed them enough to where they left the next day. And then the second other good story that I got from the Gypsy Meadows area was of some people that were just up there scouting an area to possibly go camping. And when they were in the meadow, I don't know specifically where they were at in the meadow, they had stones thrown at them once again. It was a rock throwing thing, and then they heard some movement and something heavy and what they described as bipedal in the bush. But they had with them, it was a very distinct kind of terror-like feeling. It was very disturbing, and they decided that they weren't going to stay there, and they left. And subsequent to that, in the last few weeks, I've talked to a couple other people that have described that area as being one that we'd want to spend some time in because of possible encounters.
So I was walking around this Gypsy Meadows area, and I thought before I took off I'd just check around these areas they have here for tying up livestock, and the ground's pretty soft and tapped down, and I thought I'd look for tracks, and I found something pretty interesting. So looks like it's about a 13 to 14 inch track. And if you look, it looks like there might be some toe definition in there. But also kind of, if you look on that side, looks like there might be some tread, almost like it's from a boot. I don't know. It actually looks like it would be castable, but I don't have any casting material. Man. I'm gonna look around, see if I can find some more. It's headed that way. I don't see anything obvious, but it's kind of neat. I think it's probably pretty old, because it looks like that was made in mud and it's been pretty dry. So I mean, it could be a human track that maybe has gotten a little misshapen from drying out and the soft dirt. I don't know. But it's worth documenting, especially with the history of this area that I just became familiar with. So I'm gonna look around a little bit more, and we'll see. It certainly looks, I mean, it looks deeper in the toe area than it does the heel. You can see how that is pushed off, pushed away. Maybe it might have pivoted. I don't know. I'm gonna keep looking around. We'll see what I can find. So I got to looking around not far from where I found that track. And looks like there's some feed that's been left on the ground. That's interesting, especially with what I was saying earlier about Bigfoot possibly being attracted to sweet feed. There's definitely horse tracks around here. I'm familiar with horses. I mean, I grew up in Kentucky. So I see lots of horse tracks. And I don't see any more tracks that look like the one back there. There's some more horse or feed. Man, and there's more feed over there. So here's a question for you. Why hasn't a bear come in here and ate all this? Interesting. Man, I think I'm definitely gonna have to come back here. Maybe get some of the guys to come back and spend a couple of days with me. I've got to hear that story that Steven was wanting to tell me about those guys that got chased out of here. That's you know what they say, you know, when you hear one thing, it's like, well, I mean, it's interesting, but what are you going to do? But then, you know, you get the totality of the circumstances. So this place has a history of sightings. There's stuff that supposedly attracts Bigfoot on the ground. I find that strange track, and it just bears investigating, I guess. Man. Well, folks, this is Gypsy Meadows in Washington, in the Coville National Forest. It's got the Alasquatch seal for squatchiness. All right, let's talk about today. So I left this morning. I left Coville this morning. Left my hotel room. Drove over to Medellin Falls and met up with Bill Bassan. He's one of the organizers of the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival, and he asked if he could tag along to come up with me to Gypsy Falls to cast that track. And I said sure. So we drove up there. And we got there and the barricades were still in place, and I thought, well, you know, it's supposed to be open today, so they probably just haven't taken the barricades away, and they were spaced like apart so you could drive a vehicle through them. So we drove in, and we drove in back to where the track was, and there's a crew there on their lunch break, and they'd been doing maintenance and stuff up there, and I asked them if the area was still closed, and they said it was, and I said, well, I thought it was supposed to be open today, and I could tell who I assumed was the leader of the crew, I could tell he was a little aggravated, because when I got out of my car, I could hear him tell the other workers, like, well, they had to drive around 2 closed signs to get back here. So, you know, being prior law enforcement, I'm all too familiar with that. So, anyway, you know, we were kind of making small talk with them. We told them what we were there for. They didn't really laugh at us, but they didn't really take it seriously either. I did ask them if they had heard or seen anything. They said they had not. And I walked over to where the track was. I found it again with a little bit of difficulty. I'd actually taken a scale shot with a shot of the scene with my inReach next to the track, so I could find it again. And if I hadn't done that, I don't think I'd have been able to find it. I was starting to think that it had been destroyed. So I found it again. I had Bill come over and look at it. Bill was looking at it. Bill said that he didn't think it was a viable track. He thought it was a boot track. And I had sent the track to Adam Davies. He didn't think it was a viable track either. And those two opinions, plus, you know, looking at it again, granted it's been a few days since I saw it the first time, I started doubting myself. And then again, with the presence of the crew there, I didn't know if they were going to let us stay to cast it, or, you know, if I wasn't sure how they felt about us being there. I didn't think they really wanted us there. So I just decided, you know, I called it. We weren't going to cast it. I did take a lot of pictures, so, you know, we'll just have to rely on them. I'll send it out and get a couple more opinions. But yeah, I really thought that area was supposed to be open today. It said I guess it meant the day of the 28th as well, not until the 28th. So anyway, that didn't pan out to anything. You know, I felt bad dragging Bill into that. We pretty much committed trespassing, I guess, going back in there and ignoring those signs. But again, the signs were there before the area was closed, so I thought that they just hadn't come to move the barricades yet. But anyway, it's all good. So far, I haven't been arrested or charged with a crime, so I think we're good. I almost gave the crew leader my card before I left, and I thought, you know, probably maybe just best that he doesn't know my name. I'll just we'll just call it good. So anyway, ignorance of the law is no excuse. If you know that you're not supposed to be somewhere, don't go in there. But yeah, that was pretty much today. I drove around a little bit up in the Sullivan Creek area, back in there. I didn't go back past Gypsy Meadows. I meant to go see if they'd taken those signs down, but I didn't do it. And I'm getting, I can't remember, is this day like 8 or something? And I'm starting to, I never thought I'd say it, but I'm starting to get tired of this. I'm about ready to go home.